It is an incredible honor to be a New York City artist. Not only are we involved with the diversity of artists and talents and all kinds of fashionable people and people that are really challenging and doing challenging things, and it's very, very exciting place to be, but a lot of the times the work that we do as artists is daily and weekly and yearly. It kind of is sometimes invisible. It's very hard to imagine. And so when I discussed doing my work, Spring Fever, with 44 of my friends and colleagues, I was really delighted that they wanted to be a part of it. And it was really an incredible experience for me, because not only were the elements of putting together a piece of performance art all in place, because the weather was beautiful, the parking was easy, the people that we chose to work with were engaging, and they were joyful, and they were responsible, and all of the things that you would ever want in a performance. But also a lot of the people that joined us were not necessarily artists. They were creative types. They were people that owned businesses, and they owned situations that were very entrepreneurial. And so it was very, very exciting to be a part of that group, and we were really thrilled to have them join us that day in all of their glory. So when I started to make Spring Fever jackets in 1994, I've been building them for quite a long time. I have over 90, and I have them in various sizes from babies to king size, and I was really, really happy to have them choose them. And one of the reasons that I originally started the project is because I wanted to see if you put on a wearable piece of art, could it pop? Could it make you pop? When you put it on, could you be in a bad mood? I really didn't think so. And from my experience, it seemed to be the case that people really did get in a very different kind of a mood when they put on my work. And so I was very thrilled to have the opportunity to show my work on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan and get documented by the very famed and incredible, iconic fashion photographer Bill Cunningham. I, in my wildest dreams, had maybe hoped that I would get 1, 2 pictures tops. I never dreamed that I would get 18 pictures on his website and 23 pictures on his photo essay that he published on the street on April the 7th. And so it was really an incredible coup for me to have him actually document my work and be a part of us that day. And that the joy that was spread through this experience was really manifested by the dance that we learned. We learned the grand right and left. Now, a lot of the people who joined us could dance the jitterbug, and they could dance all kinds of fabulous dances. But, the grand right and left is an American folk step, and so we had to learn it. And it was really quite spectacular when we finally did learn it, because it really extended our joy of the experience in each other. And it was really something that stopped the parade, and people literally were surrounding us, and incredible joy was, just being created. And it was amazing thrill for me personally. And having all of my friends and colleagues and associates who I value quite a bit around me was something that I really don't think I could probably ever create again. But it was a really incredible experience, and I'm grateful that everything worked out in my favor. So when I started making these jackets in 1994, I really started small. I was doing them for private events and for small functions. I would rent them out sometimes as anniversary party functions. They were really icebreakers for all kinds of events, or they were ways for us to acknowledge the people that were part of our shows that were going on here at the museum. And so artists and other affiliates were invited to wear them during special events that we were doing. But this was the very first time that I ever did a public function that relied on my coats as the main stimulant. And so it was really an amazing thing for me to have a public component of a work that had always been living in a very private kind of a way. And so I'm really thrilled that Micromuseum is invented for the likes of me to explore and to learn. I was able to work with people that I had always wanted to work with, and so it was really an incredible, lovely experience for us because it took almost no rehearsal. People just really had to come and get sized up and manage themselves with their hats and their other costumes so that they would be comfortable that day. And people came from New Jersey, people came from Connecticut. It was really, really quite an amazing experience altogether. And that mostly I was beyond thrilled that my own children were able to join me in this experience as well. And that doesn't really happen very often. They're adult men and they have their own lives. And so it was really like quite of a tribute to myself and to my partner and husband, William, that they were able to join us, and they were enthusiastic and they invited their friends as well. Originally, when I started to work on this piece for 2013, people had always been telling me, you should really do it, you should really do the Easter Parade, it's the perfect venue, all of these things. And I really never really took it seriously until January and 2012, when one of my former dancers recommended that I, think about that. And then it dawned on me that, it's kind of now or never. And that's the beauty of performance art, is that sometimes it just clicks. You just have the opportunity and you take it, and it really works because everyone is involved in it, and it really was an incredible, lovely experience. And we had the flavor of New York. We were called the hit of the Easter Parade. And so we really were experiencing New York at one of its finest, because lots of times when you're living and working in New York City, sometimes it is really not that fantastic. It's actually reasonably fantastic. It is something that people really have to slog through sometimes because, ultimately there's a lot of responsibilities that we have here, and we have to step up every single time. And we are a cultural leader, and that is something that we're not afraid of. And that in the end of the parade, Superman came up and he kissed my hand, and this was really, really a formidable experience for me, because when my children were quite little, they loved Superman. They loved him beyond belief, and we listened to Superman, and we watched every Superman movie, and we were giant Superman friends, and they had Superman costumes, and so Superman was a big part of my life, even to the point that I selected part of a soundtrack of Superman to be part of another performance art piece that I was creating called The Lighthouse. And that way I was able to be inclusive of my youngest members of my family and have them enjoy their love of Superman along with me, which actually worked out quite well, because in The Lighthouse we needed that theme to be a reoccurring moment for us, since we were guiding ourselves through a terrain that was very, very complicated, and people had to accomplish heroic acts during this piece in the lighthouse. And so it was really made a lot of sense. So when Superman showed up, and he was an elderly man who got down on his knees and he kissed my hand, it was so surreal and so bizarre. It was really absolutely the most perfect ending to Spring Fever. And I want to thank everybody that was involved, and I want to thank Bill Cunningham for coming out, and I want to thank the New York Times for publishing the work. And it was really a very, very special experience for me personally, and I think for the group generally. And I would even venture to say that it wasn't so bad for the city of New York either. Thank you.